Okay, now it's time for us to code our solution. So when we've coded, these right here are going to be outside the loop. They're going to be our assignments. And then we're going to create our loop, and we're going to do the same thing we did last time, and that is we're going to go ahead and create, build, and test. So we're going to build one part of this, test it, and then copy and paste to build the rest of it. So let's go ahead and open up HTML and you can see that I've already done some of the stuff here, so just this video won't be so long. Alright, so these are our blank places in memory. They are our input and also our calculations that are in accumulators or counters. Then we have our accumulators. All our accumulator places in memory must start with 0 until next chapter where they'll start with quotes. But for now, they'll start with 0 because if we try to accumulate by saying that quarts accum equals quarts accum plus number of tons, it won't be able to add. It'll give us an NaN error if 0 is not in it, because other than that we'd be trying to add with null. So we're going to make sure that this isn't empty, that it has a 0 in it. Alright, then we initialized our loop with yes, and then we have our while loop as long as it says yes. So this is going to allow us to step into our loop. Then we have an output that allows us to change the yes to no, and that's how we get out of our loop. And then we have our alert done looping, and that is how we know we're out of our loop. Then I save it before I run it. That's an important part of that, because if you have locked yourself in a loop, you want to make sure that you can get back out of it. Again, now one of the things that you want to be careful of is this right here. Remember, two equal signs. Now this is where students usually lock themselves in a loop. They put one equal sign, and that means that no matter what we do down here, it'll always be true, and then they're locked in a loop. So don't let that be you. But if you saved it, at least you can go ahead and salvage what you've done so far, because that's already been saved rather than having to reinvent it. So I'm going to go ahead and preview it. And you can see it says, is there another truck? Yes. That means we've stepped into the loop. When I click OK, that means we've stayed in a loop. So if it said done looping when I clicked OK, I know I've had a problem. And now the most important part, I say no, and if it asks me if there's another truck, I'm locked in the loop. If it says done looping, then I successfully exited the loop. Nice. Okay, so we have successfully done that. And that's why it's important to build in tests. You don't want to put your whole solution in there and then be spending the rest of the day trying to run down errors. Alright, so the next thing we need to do, if we take a look at our flowchart, is let me move that over if I can. Next thing I have to do is add to input. Then we'll make a decision, and we'll do this part right here. So let me go back to my code. Whoops. And to help me out, I have already put that in memory. Alright, so here's my two inputs, and you can see that they're not the same. So this one right here is missing quotes. Let's put that in there. Well, I'm missing one quote. And you can see I have default values. Now here I don't have a default value, so I'm going to go ahead and add one. And that'll be comma. And then in quotes, I want to put the first one, which is quarts. That's probably the most difficult to type too, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Alright, I can go ahead and test it. Normally we don't test after this, but I want to do that because I want to show you something. Alright, let's preview it. So how many tons for this load is 10. Quartz marble, and it says quartz. And then we click OK, and it asks us, is there another truck? Let's say yes. Now, why wouldn't it be nicer if it said how many quartz tons for this load? So in order to ask that, we have to actually take the result of the next input where quartz was placed in there. So all we have to do is change a little bit of code in order to make that functionality. Alright, so, and let me get out of here. Let's put no for here, and we're done looping. Right, so let's go back to the editor. So what I need to do is I need to have these in a different order. I need to have type of truck first so we can use whatever person types in there in the next one. Alright, so there's that. Alright, so they're going to be typing in something in here, was one of these three, and I want to use that in this prompt. So I want to put it between how many and tons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close off this after a space. Oops, not that. So that's my first text. And then I'm going to use type of rock, because that's where quartz, marble, or granite is stored. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that down here. And then between the text and the place in memory, I'm going to use a join symbol, which is the plus. On the other side of type of rock, I'm going to also use a join symbol, because I'm going to join it with a quote, tons of rocks. So you can see we have text joined with a place in memory, so whatever they put here is going to show up there. Let's go ahead and test this now. So we're going to save it, and then I'm going to preview it. So I'm going to put quartz in again, and you can see it says how many quartz tons for this. I guess I could have said how many tons of quartz, but this is good enough. Okay, and then I'll say yes. Now I'll put in marble, and now it says how many marble tons. So, and then we'll say no, and then we're out of the loop. All right, so not much of a trick to that, but if you think about what you want to have as an interface, you can do that. So we have another issue here, but let's go ahead and do some more code before we figure out what that is, and we'll see it when we run it. All right, so the next thing we have to do is we have to make a decision on quartz, do the accumulator, do the money, and then do two outputs. So let's see if we can get that done before we're done. So we're going to say, so after this, we're going to say if, and let's go back to our problem statement. So if type of walk equals quartz, and we'll put that in here. Now remember, again, double equal signs, and if that's true, we're going to put a start brace, stop brace, and if this is true, we want to do a bunch of things. So the first thing we want to do is we want to do this math. This is our accumulator. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do is, last time we did it, we're going to do another one. We're going to do the next math. All right, so that is the money quartz. And here is the money quartz. So you can see it's in a different order down here, and we're going to actually, our final product is going to show that. It's going to take several videos, I think, to get through this. All right, so then after this, we're going to do this. Okay, that's done. And now we're going to do two alerts. The first alert is going to be this one. So I'm going to go back to my flowchart. And I'm simply going to copy this because I've already tested it and it works. And then paste this into that alert. Okay, then I'm going to do a second one. And then go back to my flowchart and get the money quartz. And again, since I have already tested it, why redo it, right? So I know it works. There's no errors in that. And I'll place that into here. Come on. Okay, so now I have these two. I have double equal signs. Looks like everything's looking good. So now we're going to go see if everything works. So I'll go ahead and save it first, and then I'll preview it. All right, so quartz 10, and you can see that I have an error. Quartz rate is undefined. So let's go and take a look at our quartz rate on line 18 and see what the issue is. Again, another. Come on. Okay, so quartz rate. Well, that's because I forgot to put it in. I was so busy trying to get that in there right. All right, so we have to go back to our problem statement. I'm missing these 3 lines of code. And again, that's why we build and test, so we can see these things. I like to put it up here. All right, so we have semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. And then I'll copy drag by holding down the control key. var, var, var. Whoops, come on. Okay, so now we have what we need. Let's go ahead and save it and see if it works. Okay, I have quartz 10, 101. That doesn't look good. And then 10,000. That's okay. And we'll say yes. And then quartz. And then 10. And whoa. Okay, that's not right. And then whoa, that's not right either. All right, so we have issues. So let's go ahead and do no. Okay, and as you know from previous lessons, our issue here is that it's joining, not adding. And that's this one right here. My quartz accum is not right. Amount of tons is coming in as text because it is coming in from input box. It's always text. I mean, this one here, amount of tons, is coming in as text. So what I need to do is I need to convert that to a binary number by using amount of tons equals parse int, and then I'm going to pass to it whatever is in amount of tons. Come on. All right, so it comes in here as text, changes to binary, stores it in here, and now it should work perfectly. Let's go ahead and check it out. Quartz 10. See, the 0 is missing, so we know it's looking good. So we'll just try it again. Quartz 10. Now it's 20. Now it's working. So that's the end of this video. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and build out more of it. It's going to take a couple of videos, like I said, to actually get this right. All right, then we're done.